Hey everybody, welcome back to Astrology Unplugged. For those of us joining us on YouTube, you are welcome to join us every other Thursday. It's great to have everybody here live. The link will always be available on my Facebook page, also the Astrology Unplugged community on Facebook. But you can also do the same by going to starself.com, which is Rick DeClemente's website. It's still up and alive, and there's a bunch of resources there that you should peruse. Well, I do it all the time, and I'm so glad that I can because it's a little piece of him. And a lot of, as we know, astrology is timeless, so we learn a lot just by reading about what happened 10 years ago because it comes back around as well. But in any case, we meet every other Thursday, and today is our pre-Halloween episode. And so we thought today would be a fun one to do the eighth house. So,
And all things paranormal.
and all things paranormal, the eighth house covers a lot, just like every house in astrology. It covers a lot more than we typically just get in a simple textbook paragraph where it says, oh, it's about shared resources, it's about, your partner, it's it's a whole, especially a house like the eighth house. A little bit about the eighth house is, so what we're going to do tonight, let me backtrack. We're going to have a look at some really cool charts that have some very interesting eighth house twists on them,
And
and eighth house
implications.
themes, right? So that can vary from paranormal to spiritual to,
Court cases.
dark, yes, serial killers. Um,
Addiction.
Yes. So that'll give you a little flavor for what the eighth house is. The eighth house,
Can I share something funny?
yeah,
Um, I was just thinking as you're describing this that our ideas of houses and what they rule essentially fit in what can be put into the little wedge that can be written about briefly to make a
right.
diagram. But there is so much more beyond that
There's so
diagram.
much more.
We
There's
can't,
so much more.
that's like the highlights that wouldn't even be a table of contents, and there have been whole books written on uh what the house systems and what the houses rule. What is it, Howard Susportus or something of that sort? You might remember that
Absolutely.
one. Yeah.
And in fact, I have this book that I want to show, and I need to turn to the right page because this is the coolest resource that I use to simplify my life sometimes. It's called the rulership book. And it takes you through, like, if you want to know, let's take, I don't know, water, okay? Water. What what planet rules water? Where is what house is associated with water? What about vapor? What about fumes? What about gas? And so it's just fascinating because it really is, but it's really simplified. So, sometimes I'll go to look at, like, right now, I'll turn to the eighth house, and there are so many things that we don't think of. Like, for example, I don't think of the eighth house so much when it comes to family, but it is a really, it's one of the family houses. I- We don't
As a water
associate,
house, it's
yes,
relational.
yes. And it is oftentimes really deep family karma, which we all have to some
Messy.
extent. Yeah. And when I look at somebody's chart and see there's nothing really in particular about the eighth house, but what about where is their Pluto or where is their Scorpio house? It really gives you a full flavor. So the eighth house, as you all know, is ruled by Scorpio. And what planet rules Scorpio is Pluto, also Mars. So look at those, and that'll give you a flavor of what your eighth house is like and what it's doing and what aspects are those planets making to any other planets. Sometimes astrology can be so overwhelming, and if you want to figure it out, I mean, I personally sometimes I just have to go, okay, just give me this one little slice and I'll focus on that today because
One
it,
piece of the pie.
yeah, because, and that's how I was at the beginning. I used to just kind of like throw a book like it's too much, but you have to take it one bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant.
That's
So,
right. And just
exactly.
like we look at the ascendant, we look at what's occupying the house and what is the ruler of the house. How is that ruler affected? You can do it for every single house, and it'll blow your mind how many
Mm-hmm.
nuances come into your interpretation as you start to use that simple technique. What's there
More
and where's
layers.
the ruler? How
Yeah.
is the ruler aspected by other things?
It's such a simple way to add to your interpretation. So actually, since we're on this topic, I want to make sure and point all of you to your charts. And if you have anything in the eighth house, let us know because we definitely want to. This is an eighth house conversation tonight. So, Rick, shall we have a look at one of these?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
I have a bunch of charts pulled up, and I started today. Actually, let me show you this one, and then we'll have a look
Others.
at others. And actually, was this the one? I pulled up Jim Jones's chart because I wanted to look at eighth house. He's got Neptune in the eighth house and Mars. Um, but it wasn't,
I think
I
I got
mean,
Neptune in the eighth house also.
yeah.
I think.
And I want to say, Rick, do you have Neptune in the eighth? No, you in the eighth
Mm-mm.
house?
Mine's in the fourth.
Okay. I thought it was in a water house, which
It
it is.
is.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't have anything in the eighth house. Um,
I have Saturn
that's right.
and
Oh,
Chiron.
I'm looking at the wrong chart. That was mine. That's my grandson's chart. Let me
Oh, okay.
get back to my chart and see whether there's anything there or not.
Waldo, it's good to see you. It's good to see your picture.
Yes, indeed, Waldo. Good to see you.
Jane, what a good one to have in the eighth house.
Hmm.
If you're
Is
on
it? That's
mute,
good. I
well,
Oh,
know
yeah.
we've talked about it, but it goes out of my head.
that's all right. That's why we all come back and remind ourselves. Um, and let me see what I can pull up. Shall we
Diane
start?
has Mercury. Oh, what a
Mhm.
lovely thing for communication and recognizing the stories that people don't tell behind the words that they do speak. How's that for an interesting idea?
And as
Mm.
we know, Diane is a therapist, I believe. Mm-hmm. Not sure if you recently told us that you retired or something was changing, but
I'm on my
Right.
way to retiring, but it's interesting. I was just thinking about this today. Um, the way I think it shows up is I'm very clear about community, like Taurus is very kind of structured and,
mhm.
methodical. But
Yes.
because it's in the eighth house, it wants to dive really, really deep.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to someone and I realized like some people really don't like that. I push them to
Hmm.
keep going deeper.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So even though Mercury in Taurus, you kind of get this idea of slow and, maybe a
Yeah.
little boring or behind it, it shows up differently in the eighth
Yeah.
house.
Yes.
Well, especially with the Mercury being there, because Taurus is very basic, down to earth. What you see is what you get. And Mercury's very curious. What
Yeah.
is it that you don't see? Because we're getting that too.
Yeah.
A
And
mental
then it's
body
also
that.
trine Jupiter in the 12th house. So
Oh
that adds a little
gosh.
flavor there.
I mean, talk
Hmm.
about, I think you were in the right profession. I mean, we're not looking at the rest of your
Absolutely.
chart, but just based on that, that's so cool
Hmm.
when when you see it in real life like that. That's excellent. Because like Rick said, it's what's being unsaid just as much as what's being said, because the idea is to go into the deeper layers of what people are saying or not saying. Um, that's wonderful. What degree, do you know? the Mercury? I'm only saying that because Uranus is about to go retrograde again into Taurus.
It is at 17
Okay.
Taurus.
So it won't, it's a little, it won't hit your degree, but just a little a little side note, Uranus is about to go into Uranus. I'm sorry, Uranus is about to go into Taurus for the last time, and it's going to go back to 26 degrees of Taurus. By the
Oh,
time we
okay.
get to February, it's going to leave Taurus. I'm sorry. Yep, it is. It's going to leave Taurus altogether.
You're right.
So if you are a late degree fixed sign, or you have anything in the planets in the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo, in like 25 to 29 degrees, even 24 to 29 degrees, this is going to be an interesting time for you, and I don't like to use the word interesting too much unless it's really called for, but with Uranus you
Well,
just don't know.
Mercury is a very interesting thing.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what's being hit in Diane's chart.
Well, it's interesting. I have Pluto at 28 degrees of Leo.
Yeah,
So Uranus will be
squaring
hitting
it.
square.
Yes, yes.
My Mercury is at 29 degrees Leo.
Hmm.
So that's fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are going through some very eye-opening times in some way or another. I have my ascendant at 27 Taurus, so this is going to be a really big. I mean, I've been waiting for this time, and I've been thinking, 5 years ago, you look at something, you go, oh my gosh, that's going to happen. Uh, and I do see my life is changing drastically in a wonderful way, opening up, awakening in a big way. So
Do you want
why
to
don't
go
we
ahead
look?
and ask if the attendees have any input on some of the little things that we have that they can take a pick and choose some of them? Like we
No.
have a variety of different things. We have some killers. We have
Oh, sure, yes.
that type of thing.
Yep. So, okay, let me put.
Killers, magicians, uh, therapists, philosophers, maybe in there as
I'm
well
gonna share my
as
screen
so
and let's look at this list.
paranormal investigators.
Yes, and you're familiar with these names more so than we are. I looked at this fellow, so Matthew Manning, what does he do? If anybody knows, he's still alive. I believe he's an astrologer or like oh my gosh, can somebody please Google him really quick? Matthew Manning, two N's. I want to say he's an astrologer. Look at this eighth house.
Right. He's certainly packed there.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or something having to do with divination. Did somebody put it in the chat? Oh, I
I'm
know.
looking.
Oh, right. Okay. Lord Alfred Tennyson, Jim Jones, Alan Watts. Okay, she is a writer. Um, eighth house, but I want to look at.
Okay, so Manning was the center of poltergeist activity in his home, family home, and at his boarding school, so it followed him.
Oh, I don't know where I got astrologer from. Maybe I got it confused with my
Well,
chart.
the paranormal is definitely something that would be, and I used 1955 to zero it in.
Manning is a healer. I mean,
Yeah,
what
and
a
that's
part.
also very large part of that.
And he's got a
Oh,
T
and
for
Pluto brings
Neptune.
the ghosts in.
Yeah, I don't, my gosh.
Uranus, the healing, because of the work with frequencies. That's why I say that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how a lot of healers do their spiritual healers will do their work.
And there's such a strong Neptune here. Like,
Hmm. It all bears
in the 10th
Great.
house,
Mm-hmm.
where he is really,
Shining.
it couldn't be more almost literal there, you know?
You know, I say shining, and it reminds me of where Leo is in your chart, is the space where you shine, but it's
Mhm.
an intercepted house. So the shine is hidden in secret, much like eighth house things are. Isn't that funny?
It's so, now that's interesting. Yeah. Does everybody see what Rick is talking about? So let me use my little pen here. So this house is Cancer. This house is Virgo. Right in the middle is Leo, but it's not, it doesn't, we don't have that as the cusp of a house. It's almost like it got skipped, but it didn't really.
Which we call intercepted.
Exactly. But all these all these planets in Leo, he absolutely, in fact, if he had less than this, it would still be such a strong, because I think interceptions are, there's a reason for them, but
Right.
here it's just so obvious, and
Mm-hmm.
eighth house, and I don't really know anything about this person. I see what he did, just from you all telling me, and I read it a day or so ago, but one of the charts that really called my attention as to what the eighth house can really do. I mean, it is for good or for not, it is a very impactful house because it is so mysterious, powerful, healing, could be damaging. It could be
The impact is
both.
also something that deeply affects not only the individual native, but interactions they have with others,
Mm-hmm.
because it is shared responsibility of partnerships. So that's another thing to remember. There,
Yeah.
there are shared experiences, and there's another space where the family connection that we inherit comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how his family life was like with Chiron here.
Right.
Yeah. Why don't we move on and look at um the next guy? So we have Alfred Tennyson, no, Alan Watt. Somebody said Alan.
Yes,
We could look at
Diane.
we could look at Alan. Okay. Um so I'm sure everybody's familiar with Alan Watts. And he was a
But for
speaker.
those of our viewers that might be seeing this, they may not be. So, Diane, would you like to go ahead and participate and give your background understanding of Alan Watts?
Well, you really put me on the spot, but what I remember is um, I might have been a teenager, certainly young adult, reading his books. And I would say I don't know what his actual profession was, but he was, I think, part of that group that kind of brought Eastern philosophy and
Definitely
ideas,
philosopher.
yeah, to this country or to Western thinking.
To the west, yeah. And
He was Buddhist also, from what I
Yeah.
see here.
I get that with Jupiter conjunct the North Node in Aquarius.
Right?
He seems quite Aquarian to me. The kind of person that is so out there in terms of really bringing humanity to a
Mm-hmm.
place of peace within themselves and with others. So, I
Oh,
mean,
and look at that Saturn Pluto conjunction in the 7th. Talk
Yeah.
about the capacity to counsel people through transformations as it is in trine to that Jupiter
Mm-hmm.
North Node. Yeah, because I know that a lot of people have been inspired by his writing alone and his words to experience psychological growth and changes.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really know about him until about 10 years ago, but everything I've read, he's, he's kind of like,
Larger than life.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
We're having paranormal intuition.
um, yeah, that whole uh nodal axis to me is so North Node in Aquarius to me is so if you're following your intuition, your calling, this could be a person that is so a change maker. I mean, it's not going to look like Alan Watts. It could look like whatever it is you choose, but it's always going to have this enlightened,
And
enlightened way of looking at bettering
he's an
humanity.
he's another one that has Leo intercepted in the 8th too.
Yeah, I wonder if,
Coincidence,
yeah,
but
yeah,
not. It's like the shining of somebody's inner light
yeah,
is at its depth kept hidden. People only There's a lot of people who encounter the work of Watts and only find it intriguing. It takes them a long time to understand certain parts of it,
yeah,
which would make sense when that is a
yeah.
slow shine.
This, I put the wrong gender here. I don't know how I did that.
I thought
Actually,
that
this,
that is a male, isn't
that
it?
is a man.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Oh, this came from Solar Fire, so I didn't do it. So, okay. But for a minute I thought, did I do that? That is a man. So this to me is like great sensitivity, great sensitivity to like human understanding, like what sensitivity to what understanding to what a human being experiences just being human. Um, that's a lot. He doesn't have an easy chart. I mean, these squares are,
No,
but
right.
my God, I heard the best thing today. I think it was today. I heard uh, the best way to put it. It was about squares in your chart.
Ooh,
It was just so, um, that astrologer from England, we all know him. He's probably in his 70s now. And we've talked about him before, Rick. Uh,
Levine,
he's friends with him. In fact,
right?
he's about to do
They
an event.
work together.
Yes.
Um, and I
We'll
like
think of it
them
in a
both.
second. Anyway, he said he's convinced that the squares are what make you. And what make you
Hmm.
is what moves you to action, and we should be thankful for these squares because if you're not moved to action, you just what are you doing? You know? So if you have a good amount of trines, consider yourself lucky in a different way, but you better make sure that you're really using them consciously.
Yeah, you have to look to the friction to find the growth
Yeah.
because all the easy stuff makes for very little challenge and you don't go anywhere.
No. Steve Judd. That's it. Steve Judd is he's
Yeah.
out of England. He just did a video for November 25, and that's where I heard it. So I don't know much. I've heard a little bit about this writer. Don't know much about him. Um, this is another indication to me is like this person really.
I think there may be some poetry behind him, but he's also very philosophical. It's very deep, that I
Yeah,
recall.
yeah. Um, this is not easy. This fifth house Saturn
Oh no,
moon
that's
stuff.
very true.
But in this case, he's able to really use that. Maybe I'm gonna say suffering in a creative way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this squares his Pluto. Also, this is a perfect example of using the square. Because
Right.
uh this is not easy at all.
And
Anytime
it is an actual grand cross.
yeah, the whole thing just not easy, but he seemed to have made the best use of the deck he was dealt, the cards he was dealt, you
Yeah,
know?
very
Um,
true.
so Jeffrey Dahmer, let me bring up another. Here we go. Let's look at this because I would like to look at this has the asteroids. So just give me 1 second here. We're going to look at Jeffrey Dahmer. This is, I'm going to put the link in the chat in case anybody has any interest in looking at this.
That's a great idea.
Um,
That way it'll be a chat worth recording and
because
keeping
this
hold of.
article is about serial killers, and it is really quite interesting. So Jeffrey Dahmer has,
Oh, yeah, you gotta
yeah,
let it show first.
okay. We all know about him. So this will tell you all the aspects. We're not going to go through all those, but we have a look at the chart here. And I was talking to Rick before we got started about, so this would be, for those not familiar as much with astro.com, we're looking right here and we're looking at his eighth house. The asteroid Pandora, which I'm not familiar with, but Rick can tell us about it in a minute, and the asteroid Lucifer and Nessus are in the eighth house, which already is a lot. Rick, can you tell us a little bit about any of those?
Yeah, Pandora has a high impact in basically following curiosity. And one thing we will remember Rick talking about is that curiosity, having an intellectual removal from humanity, is what makes some killers very cold.
Mm-hmm.
They have this distance from their curiosity. It makes it just totally intellectual, so it's fine. They don't see a problem with it in some regard.
And it's
Uh,
in Gemini.
exactly the place that, as well as his son is in Gemini,
Yeah,
and that's where the interesting
yeah.
word Rick would
Right,
say. It's always
exactly.
interesting.
Yes.
Yes. So that also includes Lucifer, which is in many ways a twisted, shadowy experience of an asteroid from a light perspective. It is the light bringer, but at the same time, it is the light bringer that is shining on darkness. So it is really much more a clear blend, and that doesn't suggest that there's an obligation to see the light as opposed to the dark. And then Nessus is the asteroid of abuse. And it is in conjunction with Venus, showing the partnership issues, the sun,
The
abuse of
ruler
the
of the chart.
soul. Yeah, which,
So there's a whole another set of behavioral elements associated with asteroids in addition to the planets and all the other factors that kind of further refine the lens?
Yes, absolutely. Because you can have something that would be triggered also. It would be fascinating to check out the days that particular murders. I would think the first murder would be quite interesting if we could find
Mm-hmm.
the first
Mm-hmm.
murder. And it's not necessarily likely that you find the time of the first murder, uh, because there's so many that with him that it's not likely he was caught until well after the date of
Yeah.
that murder was obscured. But we could possibly see something, and that's where asteroids really shine. It's in the triggers of timing.
That's good to know.
Yeah, you can have a lot of
That's really good to
attraction
know.
throughout your life
Yeah.
to certain things, but when something gets triggered, that attraction goes through the roof. You are aware something is different that day.
Wow. Yeah. He really struggled.
He also has Sato in the fifth, which is the house of children. So it would suggest a sadness in childhood, but as also being the house of being our creativity, that is also your self-expression, expressing what you feel, expressing what you find of beauty, but also what you experience of love. And
Uh-huh.
then, so that fifth house, 11th house axis has been explained in some regards as having understanding or needs for lessons in expressing love
Mm.
opposed to receiving love. And he has Sato in opposition to Pluto. And Sato is also the same root as sadomasochism.
What about Mars? He's got his Mars in Aries. Is that quite explosive? That's just, yeah.
In the
Just,
daily affairs, regularly, it can be.
yeah.
Absolutely. Um,
Rick, I'm looking at this and I don't know what this asteroid is. At the bottom by the fourth house, conjunct Saturn, but it's tight. Do you know what that
yes,
one is?
that is Vesta. That is where the light of your soul is vested.
That's my grandmother's name and my mother's middle name.
So
Vesta?
that,
Ah,
Vesta. Yeah, yeah. And there's a statue in Rome to Vesta. I don't remember what it was. I just know that I've seen it several times. So there's a little house and a statue there. What is it again?
yeah, Vesta.
Yeah, but what is it? What does it stand
Oh,
for?
it is the light of the soul, is the easiest way to look at it. So there is something very important in his regard of the mind. He's very mind focused, very cerebral, very disciplined with his thoughts. And that also goes up to Pandora.
And it squares his
With an
ascendant.
inconjunction, and it's
Yeah.
in conjunct Uranus, which has a distant view of ethics. So that's intriguing that these are all 17 degrees.
Yeah.
That
This would be a really good chart to look at the
a
sacred
yod.
symbols and see the degree, the
Mhm.
17th degree, um, because it's pretty
It's a
strong.
very high energy.
Yeah.
Because, well, and essentially though that's the 18th degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially Saturn is 1756. But regardless, I mean, we see the inner conflict with him big time.
Hmm.
Inner conflict big time. I mean, I I don't know much about Jeffrey Dahmer, except I watched a Netflix special. That's all I really know.
Well, there's Pluto in
But
square as well as Chiron.
I,
The sun is the T square of the
Yeah.
Pluto Chiron opposition.
I mean, that's so
That's incredible all by itself.
Yes, it's a lot of
Big
pain.
stuff all over.
Yes, and what I do remember is obviously, of course, murder is murder, right? But it's wrong. But he really struggled to not. He desperately wanted to stop, but he couldn't. Which I thought
So
nobody.
there's a compulsory element to it.
Yes, he held back a lot, but he couldn't control the urge, and he did keep killing.
So there's an interesting quality of Vesta amongst the gods in that there was never one single temple erected to Vesta, but she received a portion of the offerings from every temple because she represents the hearth, the fires
Mhm.
of the temple. So every fire would be giving an offering to her. So there is no visible connection to what you're invested in, but totally invisible, it permeates everywhere.
Wow. That is, I gotta write that down. Because the asteroids have so much more layered understanding for us. And we need to do another evening on asteroids. That's what we need to do. This chart is just like, whoa, I couldn't, when I saw it, I was like, this, this makes a lot of sense. This person was tortured and tortured others
Yeah,
because of it,
right.
as an expression of his inner state of,
Turmoil.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I gotta get rid of,
Oh, and let's look at one last thing there.
yeah.
Neptune in Scorpio, Chiron Sato in Pisces, Lilith in Cancer. Lilith connects with the darkness. Sato, of course, connects with the darkness. Neptune clearly can be deceptive. And I also have come to see that not only does it illuminate our spirituality, but also the spirituality that we aspire to,
Mhm.
but we're kind of wrestling with it and we're not meeting it.
Yeah.
So we're not, it is, so I think of it almost like the spirit guide educator where you're being pulled.
Are you talking about
Neptune.
Neptune. Yeah.
Yeah, Neptune. Because of its deception, we
Mhm.
can have these idealized versions of who we think we are.
Mhm.
Yet and while we're pointing to all these things that are evidence of who we see ourselves as,
Mhm.
other people around us can say, yeah, you may have a few things, but you don't have all that. It's not as big a success as you imagine, you know? There is some bit of humility there.
Neptune is forever the planet that I'm always trying to understand more about, because it's just so fascinating that
It's layered.
oh my gosh. This was the planet that Rick always talked about. If you have if you've got a Neptune issue, he would say, that becomes your life because it is so powerful.
Addiction can be so
Yeah.
common. I mean, it was discovered within days of the first surgery done with ether, a dental surgery done with ether. And at
Mm-hmm.
the same time that Southeast Asia was dealing with opium fields that were finding their way into the rest of the world and devastating the Chinese people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take a look at your Neptunes.
Shall we find another chart?
And then the way to do it is to spiritualize it, because otherwise it just, I've always found that's the key. John Wayne Gacy. Shall we?
Sure.
Okay, so let me take my, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Clumsy fingers.
Okay. John Wayne, okay. Pluto in the 8th house, Chiron conjunct Chiron. He does have also vertexes here opposing Vesta.
Yeah.
Um,
And Pholus.
Pholus, I think you've told me about Pholus before, but I don't remember.
Yeah, Pholus was the most humane of the centaurs aside from Chiron. But at the same time, his compassion could shoot himself in the foot. His curiosity, because that's what killed him. You know,
Mhm.
he was wounded by dropping a poisoned arrow onto his foot, and he's also viewed as the ACOA of the asteroids, the adult child of alcoholics. So they're around everything, and they understand the addictions and the behaviors, but at some places they can find themselves lending to enabling. So
What's the
Mhm.
significance of all these charts that are associated with killers having the planets, having the asteroids kind of in them? I mean, it seems like the 2 or 3 you've shown have been that. Is there significance to that?
this was specifically researched by the crafters of this page, and they found these to be very intriguing in their positioning specifically. These are
Because they created an explanation of the person. They helped they helped
Mm,
they helped explain who this person was.
yeah, and these happen to have prominence, and you'll see these are the same asteroids that were shown in Dahmer's. They're seeing these asteroids come up time and again. Nessus as the abuser is in this chart, T square from the Capricorn, the Chiron Pluto conjunction in the 8th down to the Pallas Venus conjunction in the 2nd and 3rd, because they're out of house. And Nessus is right there, abuse it in the space of the 5th house, which would, you know, deal with children, which he is quite frightening to children. I really like the idea of bringing Gacy into this because it highlights the fear of clowns that is frequently misunderstood. That fear of clowns has to do with fears of masks that people wear to hide their inner character. Because when you find children that have had sexual assault in early years, it's perhaps even more so if it is not addressed. The fear of the clown seems to be larger. Just something intriguing about it. And, you know,
That sounds to me a lot like that's the debate between the conscious and the unconscious, right? It's just kind of trying to protect
yes,
someone.
right. They like very straightforward people. Because the 8th house we could probably find a lot of narcissist traits that interact with the 8th house as well.
Mhm. And the thing about this tie to sexual abuse tends to be, um, oh, what is the word? It's
It's a
often
power dynamic.
power dynamic, but the coercion that happens, the trust that somebody builds with a child. And so it looks like something good in the front, but really it's very sinister in the back. And I'm totally not explaining. I'm looking for the word. It's there's a word that where there
A facade.
yeah, I'm gonna think of the word. It's in other words, it's not like straight in your face bad, and there's a it's the oh my God, this is killing me that I can't find this word.
It has an
This
appearance of innocence.
Yes, it has an appearance of, oh, look, I'm a clown. I'm here to, this is an example using the clown.
Right.
We're here to have a good time. Come sit on my lap. But really, this is not what this is about. That's work that I think that deception is what is so damaging about abuse.
Sure. And
Um,
and the another thing that I use as an eighth house meaning trust areas and areas of betrayal,
yeah,
because things have not been expressed enough to hold the boundary, and it gets nebulous because
totally.
this is the space of private conversations. It is the space of dark. There is a darkness to it, so
Hmm.
there's an unseen quality. The eighth house are definitely things that are kept unseen.
Yeah.
Waldo has an intriguing observation. He sees that a lot of serial killers have either sun, moon, or
Yes.
ascendant in the mutable signs:
Mm-hmm.
Mercury, Jupiter, shadow,
Mm-hmm.
strong. Yeah.
I think it's because, listen, I study astrology all the time, and just yesterday was talking to somebody, and all of a sudden I got a whole other view on Gemini. And it helped me understand them big time, because
Sure.
I struggle with this sign, I'll be honest. It is my happens to be my south node, but I instantly got, whoa, this is actually why they are the way they are. And it's not bad, or it's just this is the way it is. And don't judge it. This is just how it is. And they absolutely can see two sides of the same coin. And it can be a gift. And it could also be something else. But that mutability is, I mean, not just in Geminis, but I want to say in this article, in fact, there was a mention of Gemini and Scorpio.
Well, the double-bodied signs, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, are thought to be frequently having that both side really uh, so predominant
Yeah,
that they can sometimes upset the people in their lives when they don't call something out. You know,
totally.
they're so, I mean, the animal nature and the humanity of the Sagittarian can see different sides to people's life. The fish swimming in different directions. One is, they say, is swimming towards heaven and the other towards earth. They're very, or the head and the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And the Gemini is just totally intellectually just looking at it all like a tennis game. Yep, there's a tennis ball that comes from this side or that side. It's all the
Yeah,
tennis game. And we're just engaged in the process intellectually. Where's the ball? You know?
yeah, yeah. I think that's a good observation, Waldo, because Rick actually talked about this. He
Can I
talked
say
about
something? Can you hear me?
Please. Yes.
Well, I find out it's because Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury is a trickster. It could work either way as a good Mercury or as a very trickster Mercury.
Yeah.
And most of these serial killers, when you look at the third house, which is ruled by Mercury,
Mm.
is also very strong. The third house, because the communication is very good. They could trick people to follow them or to, you know, get get an acquaintance with people very easy because they are
Sure.
extrovert.
Sure.
And Jupiter, when it's in the shadow, you know, Jupiter is the god of the is the goddess. You know, he always think about being over. You know, in the shadow side, Jupiter is like, this is my belief, and everybody has to follow me.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
that most of people think is the A house, but in this case, I look at the 12th house more than the A house when it's serial killers because they are more connected to the collective. They don't have they could kill anyone. They don't usually kill family or people close to them. They kill more outside.
Well,
So,
the third house is where the mind is and where the
Right.
communication proceeds
so in
from.
in the last three that you show, you see also like in the last one, Jupiter was opposing Black Moon Lily,
Right.
the third house and ninth house. I mean, that's the house of Mercury and Jupiter. So, you know, when you
Mhm.
look at it, sometimes I follow a lot of serial killers chart because I like to see where they're coming from. And I noticed that a lot of them is Virgo, a lot of Virgo in the chart too, because they're very
Well,
intelligent.
and that ninth house ruler in this chart here is the sun that is involved in the opposition from Neptune to
Oh,
the
I know. That's huge. This
Yeah.
window is
And
huge.
also
to the new moon.
you have to look at the Chiron too, because Chiron is a wound. And like Jeffrey
Right.
Dahmer, his wound was that he was not be seen by his father. And he has the Chiron in the fifth house.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be a person that had to be, the wound is that they don't put attention when he was little, you know.
Yeah.
They in the movie that they show, I don't know if it's a true movie, but the father used to be very harsh with him.
Yes. Yes. Actually, yeah, my son-in-law read his father's book. He said it was one of his favorite books ever because his father really he carried the weight of the world knowing that his son was the way he was.
And it was in Pisces, Chiron in Pisces.
That's
Also Jupiter involved in there.
yeah.
Are you saying that's the placements of Dahmer's father's chart?
No, the Dahmer, when you show the chart, you can see Chiron was in Pisces opposing Pluto.
Oh, right.
I mean,
Right.
that it doesn't show a serial killer. You have to be careful with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to it. Sorry, guys. I was
I
trying to
have
fix this stuff.
I had that opposition. I know how it works.
Dahmer. I just noticed that Ted Bundy, speaking of third house, had Mercury and Scorpio in the third house. So this is, to your point, Waldo, the third house being,
Chiron in Pisces opposing Pluto.
oh yeah.
And
Mhm.
then and that's the water triangle with a little bit with
Mm-hmm.
a Neptune there.
Would you like to shift a little bit when we're and wrap up the serial killers and move to some of the more paranormal stuff?
Sure.
Yes.
It's better.
Lighter,
The lighter stuff.
the lighter side of darkness.
Especially that
Sure.
clown.
Yes.
He was mean.
Oh, so spooky. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know these names, Rick.
Oberon Zell,
Okay.
he is the trained in druidry, and he is very well rooted in multiple areas of magic as a teacher, as a wizard, and he also is the one who coined the term neo-pagan.
Mm,
So he's very well known in philosophical understandings,
mm-hmm.
and he has done a lot of social justice work as well, bringing things out into the open awareness. And it's interesting to see that Eris is in his 8th house, and his Mars is down in the 3rd house in Scorpio. That's intriguing to me as somebody who knows him and his life. Pluto in the 11th, definitely somebody who is looking for transformation of the future. And he has that Chiron North Node and Moon that is in that 12th house. There's a very benevolent and kind, healing nature to him that he has. He's like the woodland version of Santa Claus. You know, he
Yeah.
always has a smile, who's very loving, very kind-hearted, and yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting person. Yeah.
And you said you knew him?
Oberon has we have met online, and I did a reading for him many years ago, and that's where I kind of picked up this perspective that, okay, I need to tell you things that are not known about you publicly to go ahead and really help you to understand that this is really insightful. And it was done over the phone. So there's no ability for me to be cold reading him. I can't look at, I
Right.
don't know his environment. I don't know his facial expressions. And I told him things about his childhood, things about his experiences in life that were behind the scenes, things that would not have been notable. And then Ray Buckland, I did meet in person. That was beautifully experienced after I had cleansed someone's home using his materials, and we had a lovely conversation because he had never thought about doing the cleansing for the reason that we had done that. It was basically so as to navigate responsibility for the negative energy in the home from early childhood of the owner, because from the ground up it was built with them being the only children that had ever been in that home, and they wanted it, this owner wanted it to really be cleansed. And then he gave me his chart to work with, and there he has Scorpio on the 8th house cusp. And in the future, there are some asteroids that I will eventually start to plug in to things, but this is the man who brought Wicca, Saxe Wiccan thinking, from London to the US. And he settled in Ohio, and there's actually a museum dedicated to him. I believe it is in Columbus. Not Columbus, Cleveland, excuse me. Cleveland, or the outskirts thereof. So he has that Pluto Mars conjunction in the 5th house, which is a very creative, powerful
Yeah.
conjunction that can really transform a lot of energy. Interestingly enough, he has Aries, the house that Mars would rule, intercepted in the 1st. So there's and he is a very prolific writer. He has all kinds of different things that he has written. And when you look at Sagittarius on the 9th house cusp, it also carries over to the 10th, showing that broad philosophical outlook of entire systems of thinking. Certainly, he is one of the preeminent American transplanted magicians, and he was an incredible gentleman, very wonderful man.
Yeah.
I think that if you ever happen to see an image of him in his Victorian garb, it was very suited to his personality.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was quite the sweetheart. Very,
Yeah.
very, very pleasant. And he had a swagger and a charm to him as well.
I'm sure, because I think Gemini, he's got that. Gemini can be very, I mean, his moon is in Gemini. I feel like that's a
And then he has Sun and Mercury and one other planet in Neptune there in Virgo. That's a lot of Virgo.
yeah.
So again, highlighting the mind.
Yes.
So
Um,
something about the depth that 8th house careers lead people through really makes the mind an important space, because we're trying to understand what goes on with magic, what goes on with the paranormal. Why is this person or this family being haunted? Why is this person, who maybe there's more than one child in the family and this one turns out to be the murderer?
right.
Why? Why that? Why is one a murderer? And that would be something interesting, looking at the family members of the murderers.
Yes.
For sure, it would show a different
That environment they came out of.
right.
Can I ask, is there anyone in this group that has had paranormal experiences, or is that sort of off the table?
I've had
That's
multiple.
off the table, Jane. We don't talk about that.
Yes, we don't talk
This
about
is
it.
this is the right place to talk about it, in fact.
I'm actually a paranormal investigator.
And you're talking to
figured you
somebody that
would.
is like
Yeah.
totally
I fi-
involved in
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, and I thought so too. It's more just I didn't want to, for this
Assume.
particular session.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think we could probably do another night on paranormal.
Well,
Yeah.
the mother of the young boy who was the subject of The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis became a paranormal investigator, and we have her chart as well as his. And I think I'm trying to remember. I actually did my first investigation and cleansing around the year that her son was born. Well, her sons. She has an older one as well.
So this is Denise.
Yes, this is the mom who is fighting for her child's sanity and safety to keep him from the torment that he was experiencing.
Wow.
and there is this Saturn opposition to your and Saturn Chiron conjunction opposite the Uranus Pluto conjunction that are a part of a kite almost, not quite, but there is enough closeness with the Chiron to the Venus Mercury conjunction in the 8th and the 17 degrees Scorpio Neptune in the 12th.
Yeah.
That you can see there, it probably hits with Pluto more effectively to be the kite. But yeah, it's definitely a grand trine, all in the private spaces.
Yes.
And she had a vigilant protection that she tried to put on that sun to not be tormented by looky-loos in the culture and children. They even chose to give him, for a time, his mother's maiden name, so they didn't associate it with while he was young. That way he wasn't
Exposed.
yeah, especially very, very good attempts there to really do what could be done. And now that the boy has a child of his own, and interesting things are happening there as well. So it's a whole fascinating family dynamic. And I think that's an interesting thing to look at when you're looking at hauntings. This was her second child. So you would look to the second house, and there's Taurus on the cusp of the 7th with its ruler of Venus right into the 8th house. That's the child that had the gifts and the connection. And have Mercury, a lot of people don't realize, is actually the one of the gods that could go into the underworld and carry messages back and forth between Olympus and the underworld, as well as through humanity. So it is through Mercury that when we see Mercury-Pluto connections, there's frequently the capacity to communicate back and forth with spirits.
Yeah.
So that's an intriguing part of that as well.
There are some really interesting things coming up on the telepathy tapes. I don't know if anyone's been listening to the telepathy tapes, but a recent one was because they initially looked into non-speakers, so autistic non-speakers. But there was one in one of the recent episodes where a child who's a non-speaker was really getting harassed by lots and lots of spirits. They can also communicate with other non-speakers that are still alive, but they actually got someone in to help this gorgeous child to be able to say, actually, someone might come in and ask you to send a message to someone still living, but you're allowed to say no. And this child hadn't realized they could say no. And they were really getting inundated by too many people going, tell this person, Anyway, it's fascinating.
Yeah,
Really
it is a very big, important missing component of the discussion around the experience of mediumship. Because you have a responsibility as the one in the middle between the souls on the other side and the messages that are going to be given. Some messages are going to be pieces of the message are acceptable to give, and some pieces of messages are best not to be given.
Right.
And that actually coincides with a philosophy of prophecy from the Old Testament, that there are those prophecies that are supposed to be spoken forward, and those that should take into account a second spiritual gift that is not just of prophecy, but of intercession, where you should simply be praying about it, praying for the transformation of the experience, which transformation is another eighth house Pluto connection, because even before there was Pluto, there was Mars that you were willing to fight to the death.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. It keeps coming onto my radar. I just haven't had time to catch the telepathy tapes. And I
Yeah,
really
it's very interesting, and she's done. Kai Dickens is the woman that's put it together, and she's blown her own mind by doing it, of course, because she didn't necessarily believe it was possible. But it's interesting, the growth of it, because she's got onto she's had one long series of podcasts, and now she's onto another one, and it's just opening up all these different areas. Really interesting.
yeah, nonverbal communication in neurodivergent individuals is something that I have had experience with working with the developmentally disabled, and uh, it was hilarious, some of the things that you could see with gesticulations and uh looks and even grunts, that you could understand exactly what was being said, but certainly not exactly what they were getting at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike,
it's fascinating. Totally.
yeah,
Honestly, blow your mind.
right. So this is the chart of the little boy. You see there is Virgo on the eighth house cusp. The ruler of Mercury is in the ninth house. This is definitely showing an experience of, oh, and let's not forget the Eris Jupiter uh, conjunction in the north of the house, in the north of the chart, is in opposition to both Mars and Mercury, because they're kind of in the middle there. So it kind of ties that in, it anchors it with enough energy that you can easily go beyond the 8-degree orb of a conjunction, because Jupiter is in between. And
Right.
then you have the Pluto Sun conjunction in the ninth. Totally, this is about transformative philosophical thought that can only be coming about from the experiences of a medium, even if it is a reluctant medium.
Mm.
Chiron in that sixth house, this is somebody who fought to find their voice, Gemini. That's just what you would interpret it as. And that is something that you can see the pain and the pathos in it embodied by the writers when he says, I see dead people.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something there, Rick, with and Claudia, with the South Node being right on 0?
Oh, yeah. The 0
And
degree
in the
mark?
8th.
Right. That definitely looks like this, the past lives from the South Node have been connected to many things eighth house. So that could be, I mean, another one of the people that I looked at was, I met him as a 16-year-old, a month away from 17. He was interested in the paranormal, and I dissuaded him from getting into it until after he would get his education and establish his life. and the career he chose was real estate, another eighth house area. Um, I would not be surprised if there's some other things that you wouldn't expect, like maybe some uh, elements of math, basic math, probably strong basic math skills, because accounting is frequently dealing with the eighth house. You could just as easily see a CPA going in that direction. Having Mars in Libra, he's trying to balance philosophically opposing sides. There's something that is leading him towards philosophical outlooks that would understand things. And there it is, opposed to Jupiter, you know, and Eris. There's something about the injustice of it all that may be in the mix.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong Eris.
Right.
To Mars.
The Sun Uranus conjunction. I'm sorry, Saturn Uranus conjunction. I find that to be a big deal. It's probably, with that Sagittarian connection, going to eventually be something that he will have thoughts that will help our future. Will it be limited to the paranormal or the metaphysical? Maybe not. It may have something to do with how we structure our understanding of unique ideas. Advancing things to the computer age could be a part of it. Those are all quite possible. There are certainly things worth exploring. And then Neptune in the 12th, that it can be a very spiritual place, especially with Neptune in an earth sign. There can be a very strong connection through the emotions to the earth, because emotions is water. So to go ahead and have that watery planet in an earthy sign, there's a real connection to getting a lot of information through the earth and through the emotion. A lot of good stuff for somebody who would choose to be a psychic, perhaps, you know?
That's what I was thinking. I mean,
yeah,
he's had an interesting already
right
life at his young age.
He's a psychic. He's not have to be. He's a what I can say that, like you say, Neptune is it has to be psychic. Neptune the 12th, ruled by Jupiter in the 4th house, opposing Mercury and Mars. That's why he could ground it. I mean, he's not only a psychic, he can see the entities because he has Neptune in Capricorn. And also Jupiter, it facilitates the communication because he's opposing Mercury. So
his I think it was his maternal grandfather who actually saw a particular old man spirit that Michael's mother never saw. Denise had never seen it.
Right.
But eventually Michael even saw the spirit that his grandfather saw.
Capricorn. Capricorn is is all people, all spirits, and Jupiter being in the 4th house, he comes from family lineage. Yes,
it's ancestral.
It's a family lineage showing the 12th house in the collective.
And that 4th house moon would show that there's a strong maternal ancestral lineage. And that is very evident in his
Mars, the ruler of the 4th house, is in the 10. That's what everybody has to, in the 9th house, everybody knows about him because, you know.
Well, the 4th house cusp has Taurus on it.
Yeah, in this case, I look at it. Yeah, you're right. But it's still the communication house. Like we
Sure.
talked before, you know,
That
it's
is
always very
absolutely
strong.
correct.
It's
Yes.
always very strong.
Yeah.
But, for me, Neptune in the 12th, ruled by Jupiter, which is also ruled the 12th house
Right.
in all astrology.
Yes. Yes.
So you got Venus, Saturn, Uranus, all ruled by Jupiter. All ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is the stronger planet in this chart because he's taking control of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This would be an interesting chart to see about any asteroids that could be prominent for him. I don't know what those are, but it would be interesting
Sure.
to think about what they
I don't
could
think
be.
he need more. He don't need anything else because we want to go crazy. But
He's a pretty,
Well, it gives color. It doesn't.
it's very strong right now. You can, you know.
Yeah, the planets tell the story.
Yeah, very easy right there.
Yeah,
Even
the asteroids are just color that they add, or emphasis, or pause to reflect.
Mhm.
They shine light.
with Virgo in the 8th. Well, he's very grounded too because Capricorn is ascendant.
Mm-hmm. Right. And his chart ruler of Saturn is.
But Saturn is pulled by Jupiter. That's what I was telling you. He's very strong. And the spiritual part of this chart is very strong.
Mhm.
And the other thing that's interesting is that the highest planet in his chart, the highest in elevation, would be the sun at 13 degrees Scorpio.
See you guys.
And take care.
Bye, Chuck. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, Chuck. Yeah.
That's why he's not afraid. That's why he was not afraid of talking about dead people. Because Scorpio is strong with Pluto.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
I see the sun. I see. I see dead people.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating chart.
What an interesting young man. I mean, I know he's not
Good
young.
movie. They make a movie about him. That's good.
I've never seen it. Maybe I should see it now.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it's
Check it out
worth it,
again.
Claudia.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Seen a few times.
Something.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I will definitely check it out.
Bruce
11.
Willis should have a surge right now of his movies because of his health. This one is a beautiful intersection of things that I really appreciate. He's both a priestly cleric, but also an exorcist, although he has come to pass. He was the Vatican exorcist for the zenith of his career. And he trained other exorcists as well. And dealing with, so there's another one, Scorpio on the 8th house cusp. Mars is in the 3rd house, where he's very conversant about the topics. Mars in Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
And Pluto is in the 4th house, in the compassionate sign of Cancer, the nurturing sign. Jupiter in the 10th certainly speaks to a spiritual vocation.
Spiritual, yeah.
Yeah.
In his
A career in spirituality, for sure. I see Uranus at 24 degrees of Pisces, and directly square is Mars. That would definitely be something where you could see direct confrontation of unseen forces that would be the undoing of a person. 12th house is hidden enemies. Demons are hidden enemies. That is what he would be exercising. And it's close enough that you can include Eris in there. So he was all about bringing balance to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Very much with that Aries ascendant. He had a very strong sense of self. Mercury,
He's a
Chiron
strong
conjunction.
guy.
Very much the
Saturn in
healer.
Scorpio is strong. Like, this guy could handle, he
Right.
had to, obviously, he had to. He could handle difficult forces
Mm-hmm.
against him.
Right. And with having Saturn opposed to the sun and to the nodal axis, as well as the moon, he probably had a difficult time in childhood. I would not expect that to be, because there is somebody who struggles with family. When you see the heavy squares to the nodal axis, and then to have it's a T-square because we don't generally put the south node as a physical body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if they include it in Vedic astrology to be a full grand cross when you're looking at something that is a mathematical point, because they really embody a lot of what goes on with they kind of give the nodes planetary status in a lot of ways.
Yeah. This is a fascinating one.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
It's
yeah.
not easy to find exorcists,
No. They
you
don't
know.
just come
Well,
around.
he has the Saturn trine Pluto, so that make a good exercise because he could
Mm-hmm.
go all the way to Hades' work to
Right.
Saturn, very firm, very grounded. Saturn in Scorpio gives you the research you need to do anything in the
Sure.
metaphysics. And that Mars, like you say, that is square Uranus, because Uranus is in the 12th house, so that's maybe why he was getting the information from Uranus,
Right.
from
Right.
the source,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew how to grant it because he got that Saturn in Scorpio, so
Mm-hmm.
he knew how to use the information.
Pluto in the 4th house also suggests trauma in the early childhood home.
Well, that's ancestor
Yes.
lineage, like we were like dark
Right.
stuff in his ancestry.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but he probably deal with it when he was very young, so he was prepared.
That's what I'm thinking.
He was preparing himself with that Saturn in the Scorpio, Pluto in the 4th house. So he was somebody that was born in that type of situation. So maybe that's why he was interested in being an exorcist, because he was plus. Remember, we talked about Jupiter before. Jupiter is in the 10th house.
Right.
That's the spiritual
vocation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and being a priest is looked at as a calling. I cannot help but think that being an exorcist is even more of something you need called.
This is because of these transpersonal planets are very strong in this chart. They're in the 12 in the water houses.
Right.
So that's something that you cannot avoid. That's a calling.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He could go to the other side, to the serial killer side. He could go to that side too.
That's true. Yeah.
I think though
He
for
choose
his,
the good one.
but for his Saturn to have that anchoring in
Yeah,
the T
Saturn
square,
in Scorpio is very strong, very,
right?
very.
I think that suggests that he has the spiritual discipline.
Yeah, research. You have to read a lot of things to
Mhm.
be an exorcist. You have to have a lot of tools in your toolbox.
Yeah.
So
Very
that's
interesting.
only you can get it with Saturn.
I think it's a possibility that his life may be the inspiration to one of the Hollywood movies. You know, maybe the Russell Crowe one.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
it's many of those movies.
Right.
I don't know if they.
We should look at that. We should look into that.
I'm looking now.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it wouldn't surprise me. There is one, oh, I think it's Padre Pio.
Yes, another incredible
Yes.
mystic.
Yes. I meant to find his chart earlier today and I couldn't find it.
Okay, it was the Pope's Exorcist that
Wow. Yeah.
that was it was a 2023 movie. And
Oh, really?
yeah,
There
and
you have it.
with Russell Crowe, who played Gabriel's role.
See,
What's the name of the
only
what's-
a Pluto in the fourth house could hide all those secrets from the Vatican.
what's the name of the movie?
The Pope's Exorcist,
Okay. That
2023, Russell Crowe.
It's a very good movie.
Mhm.
Whoa. Thank you for bringing attention to it. That's great.
It's a nice way of having our astrological awareness expand in
Totally.
our entertainment experiences, you know?
Absolutely. I've had so much fun today, guys. This was a
Oh,
great
yeah.
evening. We'll probably do these things morph into, oh, we should do another when we talk. We should do
Sure.
this and this and this. It was great to see everybody join us on
I wanted to
November.
express that anybody who might find any of this interesting, please go to the upper right-hand corner of the chat box, hit the 3 dots in the upper right so that you can save the chat. That is a helpful thing because
Thank
there's some
you.
nice information there.
Yeah, great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we got some good tidbits too. I'm gonna look at that telepathy. Did you say
The
telepathy
telepathy tapes.
tapes?
Tapes.
I'm gonna look for
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna look for
I
that.
think you just might enjoy it, Claudia.
I think I might. I think I would. That's great material for when I go for my walks.
You know, it's interesting that I actually also have the birth data, if I didn't lose it in my recent debacle with my computer, of the author of the text of my college philosophy course, Mysticism and Psychic Research.
Mm.
And that would be another, he is like the first one from a California university to have ever gotten a degree in the paranormal.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yay.
Yeah, that would be another fun
That would be
exploring.
another fun episode. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If anybody has any ideas of a topic they want, let us know because we're always here to listen and just learn more together. But thank you for joining
Yeah.
us, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye
It's
to my
lovely.
members. And
Thank
we will
you.
see you all on November 13th. I'm not sure what the topic will be then, but we will announce it on Facebook. Thank you, everybody.
Yay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Lots of love.
Happy
Bye.
Halloween. Be safe.
Yes,
I'm
happy
wearing
Halloween,
Halloween
everyone.
now. Halloween Oz is already here.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm
Bye,
going
everybody.
guys.
hold on, I'm gonna
Bye.
stop my recording. I gotta
Nah.
stop.